Hey, it's a lady.
Oh, Mary J. Lordy, there are excuses about seashells. Disgraced former FBI goofball James Comey is trying to shift blame from his shady 8647 post, one that sure looked like a veiled threat against President Trump, by blaming his wife. Isn't that sweet? And playing the old, "oh, shucks, I'm just a sweater-wearing grandpa" card. Give me a break.
I was a grandfather and an author wearing, sweaters and jeans. And then I went for a walk on the beach and posted a silly picture of shells. Patrice, my wife, said, "Why would someone put an address in the sand?" And I said, "I don't know." And we stood over it and I said, I think it's some kind of political message. And I said, well, to me, as a kid, it always meant to leave a place, to ditch a place. I said, that's really clever. So then she said, you should take a picture of that.
Greg, he is so full of hot toots. I'm choking on him all the way over here.
He is a goofball. I think that's the best way to describe it. And I get how people say this is overblown. And that's completely fair if it's coming from the right. But no one on the left can criticize this. Sorry, Jessica. Because how many articles were written about the Nazi origins of the OK sign? And green frogs, They turned Tesla cars into justifiable targets of hate by linking them to Nazism. Every single outrage linked to existential threats was based on mind reading, that they knew somehow what we were thinking. So if you saw somebody in a MAGA hat, that meant they wanted to go back to the era of slavery. They would make these leaps. Remember the taco salad? Trump's eating a taco salad. Well, that was an attack on Hispanics. Do you remember Bloodbath? He was talking about the economy in Detroit or Michigan, and then they said no, he was advocating violence. That's not true. So I think we have. And I'd say we, as someone on the right, have been dealing with this daily. James Comey said that he's unbiased because as an FBI director on Obama, he never played basketball with Obama. Now, could you imagine if Trump had said, I've never played basketball with Obama? They would say, oh, and have you not eaten a bucket of fried chicken with him either? How dare you? But, it's like we don't do that stuff. So, once in a while, we can say this guy's he's a fruitcake, a goofball, a nut job, a wacko.
Yeah.
And those are the medical terms.
Well, he's essentially a doctor, Jessica, so we're going to have to grant him that. The problem is, I don't buy his excuse that it was innocent and they had no idea and his wife thought it was someone's address. And he's like, well, no, it might be a political message. Like, he's so clumsy and oafish. It's impossible for me to believe that any of this was an accident. It feels so orchestrated because he has a book coming out and he knows this is going to get attention.
Yeah. I'm no Jim Comey defender. He's one of the only figures in politics right now where Democrats and Republicans are, what is that common, the emoji, like we shake the hands and no one likes Jim Comey. I thought it was a waste of a segment on Nicole Wallace's show to have him come out and talk about it. He went in, he talked to the FBI.
She's terrible.
Not nice, no reason.
It makes it even more fun.
Yeah.
For you.
She's awful.
Okay. Anyway, he said his wife used to work in food service a lot. 86 does come from get that off the menu. He's old and a grandpa that wears sweaters, whatever. Cue the Robert Hur jokes. He should go away.
Should he go away to prison, Jesse?
You're asking me?
You know everything.
You know what I'm going to say. Nah, he probably won't, and that's fine. But real men do not take pictures of seashells and then, when they get in trouble, blame their wives. Real men don't tip off CNNs to get photos of them leaving for their Secret Service interview. Real men don't create fake drama to drum up book sales. And he wrote a book about, two women heroes saving New York City from right-wing extremists. Real men don't write books like that. Real men don't go on MSNBC under any circumstance.
So true.
It is a
Stop the
faculty
hammering.
lounge for feds, racists, and conspiracy theorists. I'm with Greg. I think the guy's a fruitcake.
Yeah. But
That's not what Greg said.
It's exactly what he said.
He did.
Oh, I thought he said Fruit Loop.
Absolutely.
That too.
No one talks like that. Yeah.
no one says, oh, it's just me. Like, oh, I'm just a mom. I threw my sweater on, and me, an author mom, and I went for a walk. And he said, oh, we went out to talk about my upcoming book.
Oh, God.
And discuss what kind of questions we might be asked. Come on, dear. Let's have a glass of wine and then go out for a walk and talk about what questions I might be asked about my book. And like I said last time on this subject, I do agree that it's somewhat overblown, but I also agree with Greg that there has been so much overblown that there's no wonder Jim Comey says, I guess that's just the world we live in, though. That's why people made such a big deal out of it. Yes, because you started this crazy ball running. So, I remember when he was first FBI director, he came across as really impressive. Initially, I think everybody was kind of like, oh, really, smart guy. And someone said to me, oh, no, be careful, sanctimonious jerk. And I was like, really? Well, that person has been vindicated.
Yes. Awkward egomaniac.
Totally.
And, it's like his fibs are right up there with George Santos, and you know where he is. Well, up next, Bernie goes ballistic. The crusty commie is torching the Democrat Party. That'll be fun. That is next.
It looks like I'm a wreck. It's in the hole!
Oh, my goodness.